Hey, welcome to the Closing Beat, everybody. Happy Tuesday. How you doing out there? Good? Yeah. I tell you what. You know what, Cody? Should we talk about my financial dilemma now, or me and Cody were just talking about a bit of a financial dilemma I have. Do we do it?
Didn't you kind of cover that in a video recently?
Yeah. I tell you what. I'll do it Friday. So okay. Here's the thing. Friday, normally I do fin tips videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Friday I don't have a video, so what I'll do is on Friday I'm going to let you guys give me the fin tip, right? So I'll share my current dilemma with you. I'll give you all the examples and everything, and then I'm going to rely on you guys. Whatever you guys decide is what I'll do. And I give you a hint. It's about a $13,000 decision. So I'm going to be counting on you, all right? In the meantime, we'll do the closing beat here. We talk about the stock market, which is what we focus on here, and I try to teach you stuff, right? I just like to teach and share new things with you, maybe to get you to ask questions and of course, get customers to ask questions. We are financial advisors here, and the goal of us is, of course, to be a teaching advisor, but also to try to teach things in a way that make you ask questions, rather than just tell you all the stuff that we know, get you to say, hey, does that apply to me, or should we make some changes, and really create that engagement there. It makes more work for us, but so far, so good. All right, let's take a look at the stock market. Off to the right-hand side of your screen, you can see what's going on. The market is holding tight. It wants nothing to do with the 100 S&P stocks that are reporting earnings this week. We want to see what they're going to do, right? We want to know what's happening there. 330 names overall will be reporting, and there's a lot of big names out there that will be reporting, and so investors are basically just saying, let me just wait back, right? Let me just see what's going on. We'll take a look at what's coming up tomorrow. Here are all the earnings for tomorrow. I highlighted a few that are either interesting because of their technical pattern, their volatility, or will just likely make headlines. So if you look off to your left, you got Boeing. That one's definitely going to be in the news there. 40% of their business in the commercial aircraft space. And, well, yeah, unless you've been under a rock, they've had some issues there. So we'll be looking for a little more clarity there. As you go through, you're going to see a lot of oil refiners, downstream sort of players in there, midstream as well, if you're looking at that. And then you have Norfolk Southern. The rail companies have been doing well, so we want to see that continue there. They've been in a cost-cutting sort of pattern lately, so we want to make sure that's going well. AT&T will be reporting as well, popular dividend stock. Apple is going to be your big mover. That could move the markets there. They will come out with earnings. That's always after hours, typically not early, by the way. They wait until right at that 4:30 Eastern time. You got Crown Castle and somebody else, a couple of the REITs. I'm going to be watching the REITs tomorrow just kind of as an off-headline area to look. You got Facebook there as well. Expect a lot of comments about the recent arguments between, silencing Republicans or whatever the whole deal was. So that'll be coming out there as well as their earnings. You expect to see a lot of participation on the platform. What we don't want to see is that, or maybe if you own it, what you don't want to see is that a lot of people are leaving the platform and maybe decided they weren't going to use it as much or something. I don't know. So you got Lam Research to continue with the semiconductors. We had Texas Instruments come out earlier today, earlier this afternoon, and report earnings there. And then, of course, you got Tesla, Whirlpool, and some interesting other ones. Probably should have highlighted. There's your Tanger, by the way, for the REITs. You got United Rentals in there as well. They've been killing it. So they'll be there reporting earnings. Tesla is the second most volatile stock out of the earnings group there. Typically gaps higher and tends to run higher throughout the day. I know some of you will be hoping for that to happen. As we look through some of the other names, what's the least volatile, bigger name? It's probably going to be Boeing. Boeing ranks not as the least volatile overall. I think Abbott Labs or somebody else gets that title. But that'll be one of the lower volatile stocks, and you could see all their stats, history, and everything if you're interested. I thought it was interesting that AT&T is kind of a coin flip. It has one of the longer histories, of course, but 76 quarters that we're looking at. But it's basically a coin flip, and basically nothing happens. They've got that earnings thing down to a science, kind of like Goldman Sachs. But anyways, that's what's going on there. Let's take a look at the markets. We've got the NASDAQ hitting new highs here today, now up about 5% year to date. If you're looking inside of there, you're going to have Microsoft, which reported earnings. We'll cover that in a minute. And you got Amazon as the bigger contributors on the day. Microsoft really was at new highs before earnings came out. Everybody was basically bullish on that one. Not one single analyst had a sell rating on that one. If you take a look at their earnings came in. They beat by 74, 84, 94, about 40 cents. Huge beat there for earnings. Revenue beat by 17%, or revenue up 17%. Look at that. Beats across every single segment. The biggest beat looks like on personal computing, cloud space, which is Azure, up 50%. So, oh, okay. I guess you would call that a, that'd be a hella beat, as they say, for Microsoft. Let's just double check. Is that right there? Oh, sure is. Okay. Great earnings from Microsoft, actually up 4% after hours, trading about 241. It's going to be off the charts there. 241 and change. Oh, looking good. So way up there to new highs for Microsoft. Very cool. All right, other names, Siri, one of the bigger gainers here today. This one's kind of the under-the-radar short covering rally. We're cool with it because we happen to own it. So the fact that that's up 8% today, cha-ching, happy with that one. And then you've got Tesla. Tesla with the earnings, that'd be the obviously one of the bigger headline names tomorrow. Can it be 6 straight quarters of producing a profit there for Tesla? I'd be interested in seeing their energy division. If you ever looked at Tesla, breaks into 2 categories. Most of us think that they make cars and stuff, and for the most part, that's what they've done. But their energy division, you know, the solar and the battery pack and everything, is darn near pushing that 10% of total sales. So I'm actually kind of curious to see. I think they were at like 6.5%, and that was a pretty sharp increase quarter over quarter. So maybe we can get to the 8% mark, and then you'll start seeing that in the headlines where people say, hey, Tesla is no longer just making cars. That now we've got the energy space here doing well. It's $550 million of their overall sales, but maybe that starts spiking up, pushing towards $1 billion. Now people go, okay, that's a reason for the rest of this rally to get you to $1,000. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. All right, let's take a look through the S&P 500 for the day. You had a little bit of a late day push that turned negative for the day, but all in all, just holding tight here near these highs. Still up about 2.5% year to date. Got 100 names in the S&P reporting earnings. Just no ignoring that. It's a busy week for earnings overall. You did have AMD, was it? Yeah, AMD reported earnings after the close. You had a handful of them. Stock's down about 1%, 93.36-ish, slight decline there on earnings. Beat on earnings. Revenues beat as well by $400 million. Gross margins basically in line, 45%. That's something people like to look at for AMD. Looks like the guidance was the issue there. Yeah, guiding on the lower end, still not below, but guiding on the lower end going forward. That's probably the reason. So all across the board looks good for AMD, but their forward guidance not as optimistic as everybody was looking for. So there you go. Hey, in the Dow, this one comes in third place, up 1.2% of the 3 major indices. So up 1.2% year to date. Today it was moved around by earnings. You got 3M almost hitting highs there. 3M reported earnings beat by 21 cents, revenues as expected, guidance as expected, everything just kind of clear as day there. So 3% gain there for 3M's, one of the movers to the upside. Yeah, Johnson & Johnson, well, let's type it where you guys can see it now, huh? Johnson & Johnson breaking a new highs, looking good there. So those 2 names helping there. But on the downside, also earnings names like AXP. I think you like things like this. I'll maybe cover some of the financials you could look through that are pulling back nicely. Maybe we make that our watch list or something tomorrow, because a lot of good pullbacks in the financial space if you happen to like that. Hey, speaking of good, yesterday's video was a really good one. We went over the idea of paying off debt or investing. How do we tell the exact difference for you? What is it? Does it make sense? Can you should you do one or the other? And exactly how do you tell without just using a general approach that debt is bad, or some of you are diehard investors? Let's break it down. Let's actually look at that. So we looked at a case study, and I'm going to be doing a lot more of those. I think we'll probably have some sort of thing where maybe you could submit your information and we'll tell you whether it's better to pay off your debt or invest, and actually use it as a video. So don't send me an email yet, or just hold on. Let's think through it now. But thinking about playing with that, because that's a really important one. A lot of people ask that question. Tomorrow we've got how to use the bucket strategy. First of all, how to see the buckets of your money and determine which money should go in which bucket, and then how to invest for each bucket. And if you happen to know Heritage Wealth, Josh Scanlon over there, he's invited me to do a live stream with him on Saturday evening, I believe. So as long as I can technically figure out how all that works, maybe we'll get together and help you guys out there as a group, because I have nothing to do and he's got nothing to do. So Yeah, there you go. Hey, if you're not one of our customers, well, we're not taking customers right now, but you can still join the research site if you'd like. Got a couple good videos on there. We were talking about 3 technical patterns and fundamental stocks to look at. We also went over some of the short covering that you saw in GameStop yesterday and showed that it's not just those stocks. There's actually a theme going on in the market right now, and tried to kind of highlight the performance of those stocks for you to check out. And so I hope you enjoy that. Let's do the sector breakdown here today. Okay, I'll just do it like this. So here is our little sector tool that you guys can use, whether you're a research member or a customer, if you go into the dojo. If you look today, you got performance, best performers by day, right here in this column, communication services and consumer staples. That's the one. Remember consumer staples? We were talking about that pullback. If you look over the last 6 months, it has been pulling back. But of course, starting that little rally there, so you kind of got the heads up there. Very nice recovery bounce. And if you look inside there, almost everything is starting to participate. So there's a quick look at the candlestick there. If you kind of look through Kroger, impressive day here today. Actually, a lot of them look really good today. There's only a handful of names on the downside, and a lot of them are going to have either earnings coming up or were already weak to begin with. I don't really need to, I guess, say much more there. That's kind of what you have in consumer staples. We've talked about that to death, I think. On the downside, you got energy still pulling back. So the deal with energy overall is, remember we said last week, Mr. President Joe Biden was saying that he was going to ban temporarily oil drilling on federal lands. Well, he's now starting that official process to make that official ban altogether on federal properties. And so your energy stocks, your drillers, your service companies, they all sort of pulled back, but it's a welcome pullback, right? Do you see it that way, or do you see it as a reason to run away? I want to point out a couple stocks in there real quick if I could. So we're going to go here and look through some of the pullbacks that look good. Apache, good looking pullback. Maybe it's early, but you have this nice, calm, consistent pullback on average or lower volume. No problem there. Marathon Petroleum, one of the stronger ones over the last couple months. That one pulling back too, of course, with the news and all that. Maybe that's one that you say, hey, all right, this decent little discounted stock. We've covered that one in more detail about what's happened with them and their sort of business model. You got Halliburton, lower priced stock here in this category, and Chevron. Kind of like that pullback. I do think it's early on Chevron, though. But there's just a couple nice pullbacks for you if you're looking inside the energy sector. And real quick, I'll go over to the home building industry. This is not a sector. If we look into home builders there, maybe they're finally pulling back, right? Kind of interesting there. Most of them were lower today thanks to the earnings on Dr. Horton. It started off at new highs, and then you saw that profit-taking pullback. We mentioned a few stocks before on when they're already up, and then they start shooting higher on earnings, that's actually a sell. That's not a buy. And so here's a great example of that. Gap up on earnings, a little bit of a run. That's a sell. It's a reason to take profits there. It's a traditional technical pattern there. But anyways, Dr. Horton pulling back there just a little bit. A lot of the home builders did. Toll Brothers, which we happen to own, kind of bucked the trend a little bit. So we're happy with that, of course. And yeah, that's the last piece to that puzzle there. Let's go to new highs, new lows for the day. If you look at the new highs, the magic number today is 21. You got 21 new highs on the list. We'll go through a few of them there. Lumen, this is CenturyLink, by the way. Out of nowhere, right? Just circuit breaker type rally, big bust higher there. Is that the next stock that everybody's going to pick on, the GameStop? Up 30% there and halted, I think, 2 or 3 times today, right there as it started to pop. Anyways, that's CenturyLink. You got CarMax hitting new highs. They got some sales numbers. Some analysts came out and were talking about the different sales metrics for them and how they are improving. Obviously, car sales are doing great right now, and CarMax is participating in that. They're also becoming more competitive to Carvana. For a while there, Carvana had the better deals, they had the better service. Now CarMax, thanks to the virus, I think, right? They've decided, we're gonna drop the cars off to you. We're gonna compete better on price. We've got more scale, we're larger, we can do this. And so that's really helping them. I'm noticing a lot of that out there. 5% gain on the day. World Wrestling, we happen to own it. This is an interesting stock. So, I'm a fan of, of course I want to keep track of the headlines, but I also like looking at the small cap stocks, mid cap stocks that people don't really talk about and trying to find opportunity there. Thankfully, that's doing well. Beating the market up 12% year to date. Happy with that. Newell, you guys know the, Sharpie, Rubbermaid, etc. We talked about this the other day. Breaking a new highs, very strong, looking good and consistently strong there. That's one of the new highs that I would argue is a little extended here, but a monster, right? Just a monster uptrend there. And then I'll point out Franklin Resources. This is an asset manager. The real name of the company is Franklin Templeton, right? You know that name. So that one making new highs today. There's been strength in the asset managers, right? So you can look at T. Rowe Price. That one's been strong as well. And BlackRock. No, what was I thinking? Let's actually go look. We could just pull it up here, right? We could just do this for you. So if we go over here, we'll pull up financials and say returns today. There you go. So if you click on Franklin Ben Franklin, Franklin Templeton, can never say that right, and then T. Rowe Price, right? You could see them start to kind of get that look in there. You could see the ones that get a little bit bigger. BlackRock was the other one. It did fade just a little bit, turn negative by the end of the day. Not a big deal there. But those are the ones that are sticking out in the short term. So I just want to point that out. I thought that was an interesting one. Good relative strength in that industry of the financial sector would be how you say it. All right, let's go over to stocks in the news. If you have questions, feel free to post the questions. I will try to answer them as we go. If not, I'll get out of here. Right, I'll go move on. No problem. Let's start with Etsy. Who bought that? Come on, fess up. Stock pops higher today because Elon Musk says, hey, I kind of like Etsy. I bought something on Etsy. I kind of like it. Come on. What does that have to do with the stock? So he bought something on Etsy. Chances are someone would have found out anyways, but he bought on Etsy. Stock shoots higher. By the way, where it opened today was $2 billion higher in market cap for Etsy. So I don't know if Etsy paid him to tweet. I highly doubt it. But that was worth $2 billion temporarily for Etsy, but the stock fell a little bit on the day. The overall fundamentals and technical pattern of the stock at the moment still outweigh what Mr. Musk could post there. Why would you? I feel bad for anybody that bought that today because of it. Hey, Johnson & Johnson beats by 3 cents. Everything good there for earnings. I think we got a week and a half or so. They're thinking on their COVID virus there, so looking good there. All was as expected there. IAC. So IAC, they own Vimeo. Maybe you know Vimeo, but so they were all over the place today. Vimeo is going to be spun off from IAC and is going to be its own public company. Well, before going public, they decided we're going to raise money. People want to give us money. We'll take, what was it, $300 million? That's a $5 billion valuation. And I should have recorded this. They had the CEO on Bloomberg or whatever I was watching, and they said, what's the deal? You're about to go public and be spun off. Why would you raise money? And she's like, we found investors that believed in our values and wanted to give us money, so we took it, right? Those were her words. So it was like they raised money because they could, right? You always borrow and raise money when you can, not when you have to. Very bright lady there at Vimeo. So that was the stock in the news for that one. American Express, that was earnings beat there, revenues as expected. These guys have been selling off financials in general on earnings, so you knew that from the very start, from the big names, the Bank of America's, Wells Fargo. They've been selling off on earnings, so that pattern and trend continues there, even if earnings are good. They are spending less money. They got $33 billion in cash. Debt's down 26%. $43 billion in debt compared to $33 billion in cash. All of that's not bad. If you don't understand what all that means, it's not bad. It's just the pattern where we're selling off financials and earnings there. And BlackBerry trying to continue with their momentum from yesterday. They said we're partnering with Baidu to work on autonomous driving technology, which if you don't know, BlackBerry is less hardware, they're more software these days. So they're all software really, right? I mean, what, 90% software? So that's what's going on there. I just thought maybe I didn't hit the live button, but I guess we're good. I love it. Lockheed Martin, yeah, so Lockheed Martin today, that one pulls back, continues to pull back. I think if you're a guy that's looking to start a defensive position, you like the pullback. Other than that, you have no reason to participate in this area right now. I mean, just averaging in, other than that, there's really not much to go on there. Thoughts on rocket companies waking up finally, huh? So a little bit of a bounce yesterday, a good bounce yesterday, and finally starting to wake up. It's been dead since the sort of excitement of the IPO wore off, and coming up on the 200-day mark there, so maybe something we'll be able to start talking about more. But I don't like the IPOs generally until it's been about 200 days. Yeah. Oh, Dr. Horton taking the profits on Dr. Horton. He's starting to get it. So that rally today, a reason to sell, not a reason to sit there and go, nice, good. I love it. Looking good. Yep. What's going on with Bed Bath & Beyond is something similar to GameStop. Sure is. You could actually, in the research site, we talked about that stock in particular. Yep. So Bed Bath & Beyond, there you go. There's actually a handful of names that we broke down to kind of see what's going on in the market there. And so really cool there. Bed Bath & Beyond, for sure, one of them getting a lot of that. It's because of their short interest. So you can sort the market that way, and you'd be able to pinpoint very quickly 15, 20 stocks that all are doing the same exact thing. So although it doesn't make the headlines, it's a bit of a pattern. Yep, same thing. So looking at the same thing like Raytheon, got a little bit of a bounce there later in the day, but it's the same kind of game going on here. These guys are just pulling back right now. It's kind of like consumer staples. It feels early on all these pullbacks, but those are buyable pullbacks, just like consumer staples were. It just feels early, so I haven't really honed in on it just yet. Oh, Verizon. Yeah, so there's a lot. There's just too much to cover. Verizon lower on earnings as well. I believe they had a bit of an outage today as well, somewhere in there. I don't know exactly. I thought that's what I saw. Yeah. Yeah, we covered Microsoft earlier in the day. Yeah, looking good. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, tomorrow, hang on, right? You got all those earnings that we shared with you, so that's all going on there tomorrow. You got a few changes in the S&P 400, S&P 600 if you're looking in there. And then I believe the Fed rate, oh, it's going to be Wednesday? The Fed rate decision will be tomorrow. Nobody's expecting anything there, but that will cause a little volatility around the 2 o'clock time period. That is tomorrow. Yep. Yeah. It was the outages, wasn't it? Yep. Thank you for that. I love it. Hey, I'll wrap it up there. Wish you a great rest of your day. We'll be back tomorrow to do this all over again. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for supporting us. And if you hit the subscribe button, you can be one of those that helps us get to 100,000 subscribers. I don't think we get anything for it or like it matters. Well, we get a plaque. We're supposed to get a plaque. But hey, help us out. Get us there and we could put the plaque on the wall like right there. That'd be a great spot. Thanks. See ya.